Good morning class. Today topic is chronic renal failure. Chronic renal failure, it is the end result of a gradual progressive loss of kidney function, and it is also called chronic kidney disease. So due to long standing disease of the kidney, it leads to chronic renal failure, and when this happened, kidney not filter the waste and excess fluid from the blood, and this result in chronic renal disease or chronic renal failure. Causes of chronic renal failure. So first cause is type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. I have already told you the reason behind the diabetes, why diabetes people are getting more chance for the chronic renal failure. So the reason is that in the case of diabetes mellitus, the person have increased blood sugar, and because of that increased blood sugar damage the nephron and tubules, and that decrease the or decline the renal function. Next, high blood pressure. Due to uncontrolled high blood pressure, it can cause arteries around the kidney to become narrow, weak and harder, and because of this artery becomes damaged and they are not able to deliver enough blood to the kidney tissue, and that decline the renal function. Third one is glomerulonephritis, interstitial nephritis. These all are the inflammation of the glomerulus that decrease the renal function. Polycystic kidney disease, where various multiple cyst formation occurs in the kidney and that decrease the renal function. Next one is prolonged obstruction of the urinary tract from the condition like enlarged prostate, kidney stone and some cancer. These all also leads to the chronic renal failure. Next one is vesicoureteral reflux. When it is abnormal, the urine flow from the bladder to the kidney through the ureter, and it cause accumulation of urine in the kidney, which result in kidney failure. Another causes like recent kidney infection, for example pyelonephritis, and next one is glomerulonephritis, interstitial nephritis. These all are the infective kidney disease which result in chronic kidney failure. There are some risk factor too, for example diabetes, high blood pressure, any heart problems or stroke which may result in poor blood supply to the kidney tissue. Obesity, due to obesity it also cause diabetes, it also cause renal failure because of the deposition of fatty material inside the arterial wall, and because of that artery becomes narrow and hard, and that supply very small quantity of blood to the kidney tissue. If patient having have family history or any personal history of kidney disease, then there is also a chance of getting renal failure. Tobacco use, because it suppresses the cell function, and age is also one of the most common risk factor for the kidney disease. Next is stages of chronic renal failure or chronic kidney disease. So there are 5 stages. First one is stage 1. In the stage 1, a normal glomerular filtration equal to or more than 19 milliliter per minute. So in the stage 1, the GFR is almost normal. Then the second stage, in the stage 2, a slightly decrease GFR between the 60 to 89 milliliters per minute. Then stage 3, a mild to moderate decrease in GFR between the 30 to 59 milliliter per minute. And stage 4, a severe decrease in glomerular filtration rate between 15 to 29 milliliter per minute. And last one is stage 5, that is called end stage renal disease. In this GFR decrease to 50 milliliters per minute per or below. So these all are the stages of क्रॉनिक रीनल फेलियर. तो इसमें हम लोगों ने 5 स्टेज देखे. इन सभी स्टेज में जो जीएफआर है कंटिन्यूअसली क्या हो रहा है, डिक्लाइन हो रहा है, यानी कि डिक्रीज होता जाता है. तो इसके बेस पे हम पेशेंट को आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं कि पेशेंट किस स्टेज में है. Next one is pathophysiology of chronic kidney disease. So firstly, there is decreased number of nephron which cause adaptive hyperfiltration at glomeruli because of increased permeability of glomerular membrane. यहाँ पे ग्लोमेरुलर जो membrane है उसकी permeability है वो increase हो जा रही है, and that increase also renin angioaldosterone system. तो सबसे पहले यहाँ पे हम देखते हैं सबसे पहले नेफ्रॉन के जो नंबर्स हैं वो डिक्रीज हो गए हैं, एंड दैट कॉज एडॉप्टिव हाइपर फिल्ट्रेशन एट ग्लोमेरुल्स. जो ग्लोमेरुल्स है उसमें जो क्या है, जो जितने भी मॉलिक्यूल्स हैं, जितने भी प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, वो हाइपर फिल्ट्रेशन उनका हो रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ द इंक्रीज ग्लोमेरुलर परमेबिलिटी, एंड ऑल्सो इट इंक्रीज द रेनिन एंजियोटेंसिन एल्डोस्टेरोन सिस्टम, दैट इज RAAS, एंड दैट रिजल्ट इन इंक्रीज सिंगल नेफ्रॉन GFR. यानी कि एक अगर सिंगल हम नेफ्रॉन का GFR देखें तो उसको भी ये इंक्रीज कर देता है, एंड दैट ऑल्सो लीड्स टू एडॉप्टिव हाइपरफिल्ट्रेशन एट ग्लोमेरुल्स. And because of the increased renin angiotensin aldosterone system, there is sodium and water retention in body, and that leads to hypertension. On the another side, it also causes nephrotoxic inflammation and remodeling, which result in tubulointerstitial fibrosis and second stage of focal segmental glomerulosclerosis. In this there is scar formation in the glomeruli, either a segment of glomerulus or a part of glomerulus. And another side, that is increased glomerular permeability. So because of increased glomerular permeability, there is increased filtration of protein and macromolecules, and because of that there is massive excretion of protein which is called proteinuria, and because of the proteinuria and hypoalbuminemia there is dyslipidemia arise, and overall because of the tubulointerstitial fibrosis and second degree focal segmental glomerulosclerosis. In the case of focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, there is scar formation in the in particular segment or part of glomerulus, and that decrease in three main things of kidney. So first one is decrease GFR, that is decrease glomerular filtration rate. Second one is decrease urine output, that is called oliguria, and third one is other systemic complication related to another body organ. So this is the pathophysiology of chronic kidney failure. Next one is very systemic effect which arises after chronic renal failure. So first one is sodium and water balance. So sodium or water balance, so because of kidney failure there is retention of sodium and water, and that leads to hypertension, and hypertension leads to heart failure. Another side, that is also there is also increased vascular volume because of increased fluid volume, that also result in heart failure, and that result in edema. Next, due to potassium imbalance, there is hyperkalemia, means increased potassium level. Next one is elimination of nitrogenous waste, for example uremia, and that because of the uremia there is increased acid production and accumulation of acid inside the body, that leads to inflammation of pericardium and also cause impaired immune function, various type of skin disorder like flaky skin, purpura, gastrointestinal manifestation like nausea, vomiting, neurological manifestation, and sexual dysfunction. And another side, because of uremia, it increase the clotting factor and cause coagulopathy, and that leads to bleeding. Next one is erythropoietin production, that is decreased because kidney produce erythropoietin which stimulate the RBC production in the bone marrow. But here because of the renal failure there is decreased erythropoietin production, and because of that RBC production from the bone marrow already decreased, and that result patient become anemic. Next one is acid base balance. Due to acid base balance, there is a metabolic acidosis, and because of that skeletal buffering happens. Skeletal buffering. So what is the skeletal buffering? Skeletal muscles possess an ability to neutralize the hydrogen ion, and this is called the skeletal buffering, and which is a potent protective mechanism to prevent the pH from become acidic. But due to the kidney failure, there is decrement from the excessive acidosis, and because of that there is high skeletal buffering arises in the bones. Next one is, and that leads to osteodystrophy, that is defective bone development, and there is also activation of vitamin D, which is very temporary, and because of that there is decreased calcium level, that leads to hypocalcemia, and also in case of renal failure there is increased phosphate elimination, that leads to hyperparathyroidism, and overall this all leads to osteodystrophy, that is abnormal or defective development of bone. Next one is clinical features of chronic renal disease or end stage renal disease. So first one is, there is decreased GFR, that is 50 milliliter per minute. Another systemic symptom, for example in neurological symptom, weakness, fatigue and confusion. In the cardiovascular, there is increased blood pressure, pitting edema, periorbital edema, increased central venous pressure. The pressure in the vena cava is called central venous pressure, it is also increased. That next is pericarditis. Next one is, in case in respiratory system, the clinical features are pulmonary edema, shortness of breath, that is SOB, depressed cough, thick sputum production. In GI system, there is ammonia or due to breath, metallic taste, mouth and gum ulceration, anorexia, nausea and vomiting. And in psychological aspect, there is withdrawn symptoms, behavioral changes, depression. Next one is hematological symptom. In this patient become anemic, having bleeding tendency, increased serum potassium level, that is hyperkalemia. And in integumentary, the symptoms are dry and flaky skin, pruritus, ecchymosis, purpura. That purpura, it is rashes of purple spot due to the small blood vessels leaking blood into the skin. Another is yellow gray skin color. And in musculoskeletal system, the symptom of chronic renal failure patient is cramping, that is most common, and renal osteodystrophy, and last one is bone pain. So this is the systemic clinical features of patient with end stage renal disease. Next, diagnosis. I have already told you about the diagnosis of renal failure in acute renal failure. So both diagnoses are almost same. Next one is medical management of chronic renal failure. So first one is, calcium and phosphorus binders are used to treat the hyperphosphatemia and hypocalcemia. Antihypertensive and cardiovascular agent, for example digoxin and dobutamine, is used to manage the hypertension. Next, anti-seizure agent, for example diazepam and phenytoins, are used for the seizure. Erythropoietin is used to treat the anemia which is associated with the end stage renal disease, because in case of renal failure, kidney is unable to produce the enough erythropoietin hormone, erythropoietin, which is helpful and stimulate the RBC production from the bone marrow. So here the erythropoietin is used to treat the anemic patient. Medication to lower the cholesterol level, it is called statins, for example lovastatin. Medication to relieve the swelling, edema and ascites, we can use the diuretics, for example Lasix or furosemide. Medication to protect the bone, So for this, doctor prescribe the calcium and vitamin D supplement to prevent from the weakening of bone and lowering the risk of fracture. Next one is dietary management. So in case of renal failure patient, we will advise the patient to take low sodium diet, low potassium diet and low phosphorus diet. So here the food list for the renal patient. Guide for the management of kidney disease with food plan and meal planning is with the low sodium, low phosphorus, low potassium and low liquid intake. Next one is surgical management of renal failure. First one is kidney transplantation. Kidney transplantation, it involves surgically placing a healthy kidney from a donor into your body, and transplanted kidney can come from the deceased or living donors, but you will need to take medication for the rest of your life to keep your body from rejecting the new organs, so you don't need to be on dialysis to have a kidney transplant. Next one is dialysis. It is the most important management for the patient with renal failure. Dialysis, it is a procedure in which we remove the toxins from the blood when the kidney fails to remove the waste product and excess fluid. So there are two types of dialysis. First one is hemodialysis and second one is peritoneal dialysis. In hemodialysis, it is performed 3 to 5 times a week according to condition of the patient, and it cleans the blood using a dialyzer center, and the hemodialysis access is in arms. So here the pictures of hemodialysis. यहाँ पे आप पिक्चर में देख सकते हैं, यहाँ पे ये दिस इज डायलाइज़र. ये क्या करता है, पहले हम ब्लड जो है वो डायलाइज़र में पहले ब्लड को हम कलेक्ट करते हैं, देन dialyzer purify the blood, then it returns to body. So it is the procedure of hemodialysis. Next one is peritoneal dialysis. It is an ongoing dialysis on daily basis that collect the waste from the body by washing empty space in the abdomen, that is peritoneal cavity, and it can be done from the home. Access for this is in the abdomen. इसमें यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं ऑलरेडी यहाँ पे एक हम डायलाइज़र वाला जो सॉल्यूशन होता है उसको डालते हैं और वो क्या करता है, फ्लश आउट करता है, ब्लड को प्यूरिफाई करता है. ये हम डेली बेसिस पे भी कर सकते हैं. दिस इज़ द डायलस्टेट बैग एंड दिस इज़ द कैथेटर विच इज़ इंसर्टेड इनसाइड द belly or in the peritoneum cavity. Next is nursing management of renal failure. So nursing assessment, firstly we assess the characteristic of urine, assess the urine output of patient from scanty to normal. patient scanty there means small amount of urine. patient का urine output हमको बहुत ही small मतलब कि बहुत ही कम मिल रहा है और या फिर normal मिल रहा है. Assess the blood in urine, that is hematuria, because it is most common in the patient with acute renal failure. Assess other laboratory result for the increase, decrease or stabilize, and these may इंडिकेट ईच फेज ऑफ ARF. अभी मैंने आपको डिफरेंट स्टेजेस बताए थे क्रॉनिक रीनल फेलियर में. तो जितने भी लेबोरेटरी डाटास हैं उनको हम असेस करते हैं, जिनके थ्रू हमको ये पता चलता है कि पेशेंट किस स्टेज में है, कौन कौन से इलेक्ट्रोलाइट है जो इम्बैलेंस हो गए हैं, साथ ही साथ ग्लोमेरुलर जो फिल्ट्रेशन का रेट है वो भी कितना डिक्रीज़ हुआ है. उसके अकॉर्डिंग हम पेशेंट को आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं कि पेशेंट किस स्टेज में है. Next one is nursing diagnosis. Electrolyte imbalance related to increased potassium level. Second is risk for deficient volume related to increase in urine output. Third diagnosis, assess fluid status, that is daily weight, intake output, skin turgor, distension of neck veins, vital signs and respiratory effort. Next one is assess nutritional pattern. Assess patient and family response and reaction for the illness and treatment. Assess for the sign of hyperkalemia, for example weakness and fatigue. Assess the patient understanding regarding treatment and care. Assess the nutritional status of the patient by routine weight charting, laboratory values. Nursing diagnosis for the patient with renal failure are excess fluid volume due to related to decreased urine output, dietary excess and retention of sodium and water. Second diagnosis is imbalanced nutrition less than body requirement related to anorexia, nausea, vomiting, dietary restriction and altered mucous membrane. Third diagnosis is activity intolerance related to fatigue, anemia, retention of waste product and dialysis procedure. Fourth diagnosis is risk for situational low self-esteem related to dependency, role changes, चेंजेस इन बॉडीज इमेज एंड चेंजेस इन सेक्सुअल फंक्शन. पेशेंट का लो जो सेल्फ स्टीम है वो लो क्यों हो जाता है? क्योंकि पेशेंट की जो होप है वो बिल्कुल नहीं है, वो निराश हो चुका है कि हाँ अब जो किडनी से फेल हो चुकी है, अब जो मेरा जो हेल्थ है वो कभी इम्प्रूव नहीं होगा. तो इसकी वजह से पेशेंट का सेल्फ स्टीम क्या हो जाता है? लो हो जाता है. न्यूट्रिशन नर्सिंग मैनेजमेंट. सो फर्स्ट वन इज न्यूट्रिशनल इनटेक. For this, implement a dietary program to ensure the proper nutritional intake within the limit of the treatment regimen. Independency. Promote the positive feeling by encouraging the increased self-care and greater independence to the patient. Protein. Promote the intake of high caloric value protein food because after the dialysis there is decreased protein level in the body. Next, advised to take medication regularly and promote the rest, preventing the patient from the infection, providing skin care and provide safety measures because in this there is CNS function also, CNS symptoms also involved, for example confusion, and that also cause any type of injury or any type of fall for the patient. So here we need to advise the patient regarding the safety measures. Next one is prevention of renal failure. Preventing renal failure involve the following. First one is advise the patient to drink water properly and get hydrated. Prevent and treat stroke promptly with the blood and fluid replacement. Close monitoring for the central venous and arterial pressure and hourly charting and monitoring of urine output. Blood administration. Take precaution to ensure the appropriate blood is administered to correct the patient in order to avoid severe transfusion reaction. Next one is prevent the patient from the infection and also prevent the patient from the toxic drug effect. So this is the prevention of prevention of chronic renal failure. So topic of renal failure it has completed. In next video we will discuss the new topic. Thank you.